8 years ago, a film looked back on youth. 8 years later, it became an indictment of reality. When the three-part Youth, Fang commentary series on Bilibili surpassed 30 million views and was then removed from the entire internet, all of China began asking, how did it strike a nerve at the heart of the Chinese Communist Party? Was it nostalgic youth, or a mirror of reality? The cruelty of the system, or the awakening of the people? Today, let us revisit Fang to see how an era trampled goodness into dust, and how people, in silence, relearned to say, "Long live the people." Don't miss the next drop, subscribe and hit the bell. In the winter of 2025, an unexpected fire ignited across China's internet. A film from 8 years ago, an unknown Bilibili creator, and a sudden wave of collective resonance. On November 29, Bilibili creator uploaded a 3-episode analysis of Fang. Within just a few days, views exceeded 35 million as the videos spread across Weibo, Zhihu, and Douyin. The barrage was filled with comments like, "This is the real China, Lu Feng is us," and "Long live the people." The discussions were widespread and heated. Some said the creator turned a nostalgic love story into a lesson on social anatomy and a survival guide to the system. Others called it clarity amid the fog. Still others said the creator was using the scalpel of film criticism to conduct a final autopsy of the Xi-era China. But this phenomenon-level burst of popularity was abruptly ended on the evening of December 5. The CCP moved in for an emergency suppression campaign. The original videos were wiped from the entire Chinese internet, and related discussions on all major social platforms were collectively strangled. This was not a simple crackdown on vulgar content, nor the removal of marketing accounts promoting unhealthy culture. It was a precise act of public opinion extinguishing, an unmistakable political preemptive strike. Fang, a metaphor for an era. Released in 2017, Fang was directed by Feng Xiaojiang and adapted from Yan Geling's novel. Through the eyes of the female soldier Xiao Suizi in a military performing troupe, the story depicts a group of young men and women whose lives interweave beauty and suffering. It portrays the rise and fall of individuals from different social strata under a complex era and rigid political structure, where class divisions run deep and the lives of the lower classes are insignificant. The story spans the Cultural Revolution, the Sino-Vietnamese War, and the early reform and opening period, highly sensitive political topics. The film was originally scheduled for the National Day holiday, but because it coincided with the run-up to the 19th Party Congress, Fang was abruptly pulled 48 hours before release and later quietly premiered on December 15. The protagonist Lu Feng. Lu Feng, born at the bottom of society, is simple and kind. Through hard work, he becomes the troope's model soldier. But after embracing the high-ranking official's daughter Lin Dingding, he is falsely accused, investigated, and sent to the border. In the 1979 Sino-Vietnamese War, Lu Feng loses his right arm rescuing comrades. By the 1990s, he is a disabled veteran scraping by as a tricycle driver, beaten by urban law enforcement. The protagonist He Xiaoping. He Xiaoping also comes from a poor family. Despite her diligence and caution, she is long subjected to bullying by fellow soldiers. After witnessing the gruesome casualties of the Vietnam War, she has a mental breakdown. They become consumables of that era under CCP rule. In stark contrast, the Red Second Generation, the daughter of a Beijing military commander, Hao Shuwen, radiates privilege, flaunting arrogance with lines like, "This red country was built by our family," asserting hereditary power. She enjoys safety in the troop during dangerous years and does not need to step onto the battlefield. After reform and opening, she easily converts her background into wealth and status. Singer Lin Dingding, born into wealth and privilege, is similarly arrogant yet adored everywhere she goes. Fang carries strong temporal symbolism. It opens with a vast sea of red and a giant portrait of Mao Zedong waving. But it ends with a lonely Lu Feng repairing umbrellas on the street, his single arm silhouetted in desolation. The contrast forms a sharp satire. The film ultimately earned more than 1.4 billion renminbi at the box office. Yan Geling, once celebrated, now erased. Yan Geling, a US-based Chinese writer, has authored many works adapted into films, including The Flowers of War, Fang and The Criminal Liu Yanshi. She collaborated closely with Zhang Yimou and Feng Xiaojiang. But since late 2020, she has been fully censored in China due to openly criticizing the CCP. In December 2020, she condemned authorities for covering up COVID-19's early truth and suppressing whistleblowers like Dr. Li Wenliang. In early 2022, she publicly supported the chained woman, and, on the YouTube show Civility Salon, denounced China's human trafficking problem, bluntly stating, "Xi Jinping is a human trafficker." This became the direct trigger for her complete erasure. Her videos were deleted, her Weibo permanently banned, her articles disappeared from WeChat, and even her name became unsearchable on Baidu. 8 years later, why has Fang become explosive? Unexpectedly, Fang did not erupt in 2017, but in the bleak closing months of 2025. In 2025, China's economy collapsed, a hiring freeze, a shrinking middle class, post-pandemic property crashes, waves of business closures, and foreign capital retreat. Youth unemployment soared. In such a climate, Fang resurgence became a mirror of the times. The Bilibili creator's interpretation was no longer nostalgic, it was surgical. He claimed Fang is not a youth film at all but a revelation of class hierarchy. His analysis did not shy away from criticizing today's political system. Everyone obeys commissars, commanders, and princelings, yet no one cares about the wronged Lu Feng. Lu Feng is the man who tried to stand tall but was crushed by the era. A Dubon reviewer directly mapped the 1970s performing troupe onto the bureaucratic world of the Ming dynasty's judging era. He wasn't reviewing a film, he was teaching viewers how to decipher China's social structure. The commentary struck young people right in their wounds. Young people projected themselves onto Lu Feng. Under today's brutal pressures, they saw in his fate their own, exploitation, abandonment, and systemic injustice. The barrage exploded with lines like, "Lu Feng is the 35-year-old programmer forced out. The mid-level employee laid off after 996. The worker wrung dry and kicked aside." Netizens wrote, "Now too many people live like Lu Feng. You work hard, you're kind, you endure everything, and the one who gets promoted is the boss's nephew. The person assigned the apartment is the one with connections. And when you get hurt, you still have to pretend it's fine." As the economy declines, employment tightens, and competition becomes inhuman, today's youth discover. After years of education, struggling in big cities, draining 6 family wallets to buy an apartment, one layoff can send them back to poverty. Even the middle class cannot escape. Thus, they suddenly understood Lu Feng. A sorrowful life of being used and discarded by the system. As for the modern day, He Xiaopings, their tragedies are everywhere. Even graduates of elite 985 universities are laid off. Civil service exams are nearly impossible to pass. Delivery workers grow increasingly educated, more and more women join their ranks. But the Hao Shouans and Lin Dingdings of society remain untouched. As long as their fathers hold power, the country and youth remain theirs. The young Lanlins of the world, Chinese princelings abroad, are born at the top. My father is Li Gang. For every Li Gang toppled, thousands more remain. As long as the system stands, these Li Gangs will never fall. Notably, from Feng Xiaojiang's original film to the Bilibili creator's interpretation, the trajectory spans 2017 to 2025, the same period during which Xi Jinping abolished Deng Xiaoping's term limit system and moved toward lifelong rule. In these 8 years, China's political climate, economic landscape, and speech environment have undergone shocking, globally alarming regression. During these 8 years, she attempted to revive planned economy models, push isolation, enforce zero COVID, suppress real estate and tech, and pursue aggressive diplomacy. These policies caused mass business failures, foreign capital flight, middle-class impoverishment, sky-high youth unemployment, and an unprecedented systemic economic downturn. Social crises surged, violent incidents multiplied. While people suffered, the regime grew increasingly unstable. The CCP fears an awakened people. The reinterpretation of Fang emerged from the times. It is a projection of the accelerating collapse of the Xi era and a genuine expression of public awakening. This is the core reason the CCP purged the videos. In the party's official narrative, Fang celebrates sacrifice and loyalty, highlighting that without party leadership, there is no happy life. But the creator flipped the camera, asking not who sacrificed, but who is dividing the spoils. The relationships in Fang expose the underlying logic of CCP political culture. To survive, you must betray. To advance, you must trample the good. Lu Feng is a good person, but no one defends him. He Xiaoping is earnest, but everyone ostracizes her. This is not personality, it is a system teaching people how to harm one another. The spirit of falsehood, wickedness, and struggle persists from the Cultural Revolution era troop to today's workplaces, bureaucracies, and campuses. One netizen wrote, "The CCP not only destroyed the economy, it destroyed trust between people. This is the most devastating aftermath of all." In the commentary's barrage, one could see "Long live the people" filling the screen. In CCP discourse, this phrase is typically shouted by the leader downwards, a gesture of condescension. But in this video, the phrase became the roar of millions online. It was a weapon of dissent. "We see you clearly now." To the CCP, this is more terrifying than critiques from liberal intellectuals, because it comes from awakened ordinary people and clear-eyed middle classes. The ghost of the Cultural Revolution cannot stop a people awakening. In the comments under the Fang videos, a dangerous question appeared. When will the Cultural Revolution return? This arose because the creator suggested Feng Xiaojiang was nostalgically hinting at the Cultural Revolution through Fang. But that was likely not Fang's intent. Yan Geling's novel reflects the era she wrote about, it naturally bears its historical marks. However, the creator correctly pointed out, during that era, there was no middle class. Deng Xiaoping, in order to preserve CCP rule, launched Reform and Opening, which created a large middle-class population. But under Xi, with state expansion, common prosperity, and isolationism, this middle class was shattered overnight. The commentary noted that economic growth once concealed class conflict. People were busy making money, believing that as long as the cake grew, they could have a slice. But now the economy has collapsed. The cake is shrinking, almost gone. And people discover they never held the knife, and the hands cutting the cake were never theirs. When the barrage is filled with "Long live the people," it reflects a profound social question. Where is the path to fair distribution? Some hope for democracy, some expect a cultural revolution revival and a reshuffling of power. Is this regression, or manipulation? Clear-minded observers know, history has proven the Cultural Revolution led China into a chasm of poverty and cultural devastation. The reinterpretation of Fang, regardless of the creator's background, precisely captured the tensions of the era. It touched the emotional and material wounds of people outside the system. Its explosive popularity hit the CCP's most sensitive pressure points. The regime knows it is sitting on a volcano and can only silence voices to survive. Fear that covers its own ears. The CCP reacted as usual: account bans, mass deletion, takedowns. But this time, the fire spread beyond what could be extinguished. Videos can be deleted. Resonance cannot. Because reality is crueler than any commentary. People sleeping on subway floors, PhDs delivering food, middle-aged citizens crushed by mortgages, these are the real sequels to Fang. 8 years ago, Fang carried nostalgia, 8 years later, it carries accusation. From peaceful years to hard years, China only needed 8 short years. Yan Geling wrote the youth of one generation. Feng Xiaojiang filmed disillusionment. The Bilibili creator narrated the awakening of an entire nation. What the CCP fears is not film criticism. It is reflection. Because this banned film allowed people to see themselves. How the CCP system replicates injustice, sacrifices the kind, and turns the people into a hollow slogan. A film can be removed, truth cannot. Voices can disappear, memory remains. The real Fang has never been allowed to age. It has simply changed its name, and in every clear-headed night, it continues to burn.